I planted some pansies outside our front door, and then they were covered with snow, and I thought, well, let's see if they bounce back, and of course they did, because they're pansies.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we call people pansies, right? And because they're tough, man. Pansies
Yeah.
are tough.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your go-to for the day is be a pansy.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I'll take that. I could use that right now.
They come in great colors. You can eat them. You can press them and they don't care. They still look pretty. And yeah, they're great. Pansies are great.
Well, I've always heard you can eat them. I think I have eaten one. I don't think I've ever heard that people like them.
Well, they look pretty. You can do the whole sugar pansy thing and put them on a cake or something.
They do. They look very pretty.
Dawn, have you ever eaten a pansy?
I have not.
All right. There's our challenge then.
All right. Yeah.
Well, Jean is our guest speaker today. I think we'll just go ahead and get started. If people jump on, that's great. If they don't, we've got it recorded. So Jean is our amazing tax pro, and she helps us out so much here at the chamber. So she makes money stuff less scary, because I'm
Oh boy.
when it comes to money stuff, I start to get kind of hivey. And hi, Kathleen.
Hello.
I break out in a sweat, and yeah, so I'm gonna lump in my throat. So
We have an arrangement,
very,
don't we,
very painful for
Stacy?
Jean.
You have your lane and I have mine, and we just cruise down the highway next to each other.
It's true. It's true.
True.
And it works for me because that's my last name now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, shall we begin?
Yes, I will
Okay.
turn the time to you.
Okay. So thank you everybody for coming. Thanks for asking me, Stacy. My name is Jean Falb. I'm a certified tax coach and an enrolled agent, and I own Total Tax and Accounting. And that's the date today. See if I can do this without looking too. Yay. So certified tax coach, excuse me, and enrolled agent, excuse me, are both IRS designations. So I can represent taxpayers in front of the IRS. And my niche for my firm is proactive tax strategies, and I offer a free tax discovery session. I'll talk a little bit about that later. So that's not why we're here. This is a presentation. It's kind of an overview of just some of the components of the CARES Act from 2020 that had a lot of tax provisions in it. There's also another Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, and that included, yay, retroactive provisions back to 2020. My disclaimer is this is for educational purposes and doesn't constitute tax advice and should not be relied upon for those purposes. I really encourage you to just take this information, do your own due diligence, work closely with your tax professional, and just see what is going to be the best outcome from this legislation. So disclaimer over, let's go. I'm going to cover just briefly the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the EIDL, specifically the grant portion, Employee Retention Credit, retirement distributions related to COVID, sick leave for self-employed, Section 130, Code Section 139, I'll explain that, and meals, a change to meals and just to meals in 2020 and 2022. So many people were familiar with the Paycheck Protection Program. It rolled out in early March. It's been an absolute mess. There have been subsequent rounds that have come out. If you have applied and gotten one, you can go through back to your lending institution and see if you can qualify for a second round. Only because they have your information, and it seems like it would be efficient for them to just look at what was submitted originally and see if you still qualify. Also, there are lots of non-traditional lenders like Cabbage and PayPal, Intuit, who owns QuickBooks, just to name a few. Everybody kind of got in on the game there because there was money to be had. So they got approved as SBA lenders, and they're off to the races. So there's probably any number of institutions you can go to. So the PPP loan has a forgiveness provision, and so you use it in a particular way as specified in the loan documents to pay your payroll, rent, utilities, and interest, et cetera. And then you can apply for forgiveness. So initially it was the period, the qualifying period was 8 weeks after you got the loan, starting from the day you got funded. That changed mid-year to up to 24-week period of qualified expenses. It's your discretion which period you want to use when you apply for forgiveness. Initially, if you got that loan, you were not eligible, you were locked out of the employee retention credit. That has been reversed as of the 2021 legislation. So you can now go back and get that, which is pretty powerful. The caveat there is you can't use PPP wages for forgiveness and then also use them for the employee retention credit. Am I going too fast?
Well, there's a lot.
Okay.
What I'm getting is if you have questions to get a hold
Okay.
of your.
You're gonna monitor the chat, right? Or we'll just ask questions as we go here? Yeah,
So what I heard yesterday on a call I was on with WIDA was that that the PPP forgiveness application is separate than the loan application. So you have to kind of go through the process again if you're going to go for the forgiveness of the loan. It's a
I gotta
separate
turn you up.
application. So
Well, I think that might be, I'm not sure what you're getting at other than, well, so then they came out and said, they being the SBA, oh, we've got this 1-page attestation form. If you borrowed less than 150,000, it's going to be great. You just fill out that one form. That's not what I'm finding in their field, and that's echoed in some of the groups that I follow, professional Facebook groups, is that the banks still want all the backup to how you spent the money. Is that what you were thinking of?
mm-mm.
Oh, sorry.
But that's okay. No, this is your thing.
All right.
It was just something I heard yesterday that, the forgiveness is going to be a little bit of work. You can't just run in
It
there.
is, and that's what I'm saying is that, we were sold this bill of goods that it is 150,000 or less. It's just one form, just one page.
Right.
Well, that's not what the banks are doing because they're on the hook
Right.
if they don't do their due diligence. So go in with the expectation that there is work associated with getting forgiveness. So I would agree. So you have to have incurred some of these obligations, like you had to have the mortgage or rent agreement or utilities turned on before February 15th. They didn't want people to take on new obligations just so that they could ask for forgiveness, right? So you can't take on a mortgage in July and decide to ask for forgiveness, spend the money on that and ask for forgiveness. I guess the shining part of this is that initially the expenses of, for example, your payroll expenses that you paid with the PPP funds were not deductible. That's been reversed. So it's kind of a win-win. You get the money that hopefully turns out to be forgiven, and you get the deduction, and it wasn't even your money to begin with. So that's kind of nice.
It's a happy thing. Yeah.
It's a happy thing. The economic injury disaster loan, this is just basically that advance. If you got that early on, that was in March and April, you were supposed to get $1,000 per employee. Some people that worked great, some people it didn't. It was supposed to reduce your PPP loan forgiveness. That's been reversed. So you can qualify for full forgiveness of your loan. You still have to meet that criteria of how you spent the PPP loan. I'm not going to go over this, but this is a very powerful thing, and I would encourage people to check into this with their tax person and their payroll person. So the employee retention tax credit, this was, again, you were locked out of this if you took a PPP loan. That's been reversed. So it's something you probably should go back to and check. You have to meet, goodness sakes, you have to meet one of the two tests, fully or partially suspended operations, or experience a significant decline in gross receipts. An essential business probably won't meet that test. And if you could continue operating comparable to, prior to the closure by requiring employees to telework, then that really doesn't qualify you either. You have to have no more than 100 employees or less. But the big thing is it gives you a $10,000 credit per employee per quarter. So for example, I did this with a client that I have, and their wages were like, I'm just going from memory, it was about $13,000. And so I went back into Gusto and said, which is the payroll provider, and said, we want to amend fourth quarter. And we just got a check for $5,600. So it's very powerful. And I would encourage you, if you have wages, to take a look at that. You could go all the way back to March. So you could go back to part of quarter one. We didn't qualify for, in this case, for all of those, but that was a pretty nice check to get in the mail. And this is continuing into 2021, and you get even more towards your qualified wages. So, if you have payroll, I would encourage you to take a look at that. There is a retirement distribution provision for if it was related to COVID-19, it has to meet these tests. You had to have taken the distribution by 12/30/2020. I realize we're beyond that, but just in case you did that last year, be aware that you can get out of the penalty, which would be 10%, which is $10,000, which is on top of your taxes. So that's pretty powerful. And you can pay that back over 3 years if you elect to. So again, you want to work with your tax preparer, because maybe your income's really low this year, and the tax of just taking the whole thing might be the least. You're going to do better next year, and it'll be more and more tax. So you need to really strategize how you want that to be repaid. Self-employment sick leave. So this is for you Schedule C filers. You know who you are.
Come back later.
And
I have
this was tried to bring some parity, because there's, if you're an employee, you got access to other programs, like your employer had to pay you some sick leave, and, there was an unemployment. And so they were trying to bring some parity in with people who aren't employees, but still have a business and pay into Social Security and Medicare. So if you meet the criteria, then you can take up to 10 days of self-employed sick leave on your 2020 1040. And it's going to do the calculation for you. Your responsibility is to see, did I meet the test and how many days? And then it'll get reconciled on your 2020 tax return as to what the actual credit is, because it's based on your net self-employment, which you may or may not know. This is a good one here. So with the passage of that latest act, a business can deduct 100% of food and beverage expenses provided by a restaurant. Very important point. For 2020, 21 and 2022, it used to be that you could only take 50% of food and beverage. So if you go to Costco and go buy stuff that you keep in the break room, it's at 50%. But if you buy it from a restaurant, you can get 100% deduction. So it would be advisable to make a separate account in your accounting software, so that doesn't get lost at tax time and get cut in half when it shouldn't. So you've got people they're trying to get the restaurant business up, and they're trying to stimulate that. So that's good. Code section 139 is related to a federally declared disaster. Its origin was in Katrina, but it's been resuscitated for where we're at now because we are in a federally declared disaster. This is a way that you can help your employees without A, having to pay payroll tax on it, and B, it's not taxable to them, and C, it's an expense to your business. So it's kind of a win-win. And for example, if you have people working from home and you want to subsidize their internet, or some other thing, you want to have a formalized plan. You don't want to discriminate and just pay the owners and not the employees. I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to hear that. But it is a way to help your employees without paying payroll taxes, and then they get that as it's not reportable income to them. You can also make their student loan payments for them. And again, that is not taxable to them, but it's an expense to you as an employer. There's limitations, but I'm just sort of planting seeds at this point. Are we having fun yet? Not enough glitter, is there, Stacy? So I'm just going to talk just briefly about what a proactive tax strategy is. Most of the time we earn our money, we pay our tax, and we spend what's left. We try to flip that around and come up with a proactive tax strategy that lets you spend and save and pay taxes on what's left by finding ways to use pre-tax dollars for your lifestyle. Everything in a tax plan is cited by tax code and court cases. It's nothing illegal. It's nothing, I'm not going to go on late night TV and but there are ways to do things maybe better. It's not just one idea on how to save on tax, and the best fit is for a business. Because businesses enjoy the most deductions, loopholes, credits, and if you just have W-2 wage, it's just difficult. There's not much there for you. So, or if you're a real estate investor, there's stuff there for you too. So that's where we're at the end. Is there any questions?
Everybody's muted, so if you need to speak, don't forget to unmute yourself.
Jean, are you local in Cathlamet area, or where?
I'm in Winlock, so I'm about an hour north, Stacy? Something like that.
We keep trying to get her to come down and visit us.
That's right. I was just thinking, I hadn't seen her name, so I was curious.
That's why, yep.
She is an awesome resource and knows so much. Because for most of us, this isn't our passion part of our business, but it's the necessary part of our business. And in order to not just survive, but to thrive, having this information can make the difference between making it or not making it. So if you don't have somebody that you feel is using your money for your best fit for your business, you may want, it's okay to go shopping for somebody to do your accounting for you. So one of the things I learned really early on as a business owner was this was not what I did best, the accounting part, and it stressed me out so much. And I went to a chamber mixer and I met actually Stephanie Vossen at that point was doing bookkeeping. And so she did my books, and it was great because I could separate myself from not that I wasn't thinking the financial part, of course I was always thinking about it, but when I could just pull myself away and have somebody else do my P&Ls and my quarterly tax report and it took the emotion out of it for me. And so I could see my business in a different way. So instead of stressing every day over what was happening, she would come in on a monthly basis, say, here's where you're overspending. How can we make this better? Here's where you have room to maybe invest a little bit. It was really nice to have somebody helping me refocus that. So I think it's a really important part of running your business. If you're doing your own books, that's groovy. I also found out that there are, especially this year with all of the financial relief, as you heard from Jean, things change all the time. I just was involved with the CARES grant, and every 2 weeks, as Brandon knows, you're getting another email that, oh, never mind, we're not gonna do it that way. Now we're doing it this way. Well, now we're gonna change it and do it this way. And Brendan, I think we have another CARES grant coming up. Do you have any information on that?
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, I know it's simmering in the background. So we'll see where that goes. And part of me is very excited to be able to help businesses. And as Jean knows, part of me shudders to think that we're gonna do this again, because trying to track it all can be pretty tricky. So yeah, so this is, yes, it's not enough sparkle, but it's a necessary foundation for your business. And
So
if you mess this up, there won't be anything to sparkle.
So I would just say, we are no longer in the age of a simple tax return.
Yeah,
Even if you have a 1040, I'm not saying that I have to do your tax return, but just be aware, now we've got economic, the stimulus, and we've got maybe unemployment is going to be not taxable, but we don't know yet. And you've got the recovery rebate, and now the new, it's not as straightforward. It's never been. I've been doing this for a decade, and we're all of us in this industry are just going, stop, Congress.
Right.
Just
that's gonna make it better. Yeah.
At least not make so much retroactive, but it's just been a mad scramble.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done ranting.
No, that's a really important point.
Yeah.
And again, as your average consumer, we're not keeping up with the most recent tax laws and all that stuff. So if we have people, thank goodness, like Jean out there who's keeping track of all that stuff, I would encourage you to reach out and find somebody reliable to help you with your taxes, especially this year, because probably I would say for 2020 and 2021, you're probably going to need some help. And because there may be deductions you miss, or heaven forbid payments that you miss, because they will find you. They will find you, and it gets expensive, and that's not fun. Anybody else? So we are recording these. I know Kathleen popped on and asked. The goal is to get these on our YouTube channel so we can go back and watch them later. So, and I'm just grateful you guys jumped on here. We're going to do this again on the 3rd of March, and we're having new owners of the Columbia River self-storage. They just bought the property, and they are working on getting things updated and changed, and they're very excited to be part of this community. So it's Linda Cox and Sharon Thompson. So they'll be jumping on, and they're both business leaders in their community. So they have some ideas they're going to share with us. And if you would like to jump on as a guest host for one of our, and just, you can talk about, there's a million topics we could talk about. So if you want to jump on there, and Steve, you could do shortcuts. Steve has taught me so many little shortcuts on how to do things better. God bless him. He gets on there, is like, do this with the space bar. I didn't know I didn't grow up with this. So I appreciate everybody who can, navigate through this stuff. Or Lorraine, if you want to talk about, creating encouraging workspace that keeps you motivated and yet relaxed, or whatever you feel that you want to share, we would love to hear from you. So it wasn't too scary, was it, Jean?
No, it's great. No, I've done that before. And this is such a low-key, safe environment. So yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
We're not grading anybody. And really the point is to get to know each other better. And right now, an environment where we can't see each other face to face too often, and understand each other's businesses better, so that it can lift us all up. So that's the point. And that when we know that we're a small community and that we can have each other to connect with, that makes this really valuable. So in the last couple minutes, on that note, we are launching our Shop and Dine Locally campaign. So we'll be handing out the kits, and in the kit will be a window cling that you can put. It's about this big. A window cling you can put on your business window, or you can put on your vehicle. It's a cling, so it won't harm your windows. You put on your car if you don't have a shop or an office necessarily. And you get some little stickers that look the same, and then you get a Wakayakum Strong button to wear on your apron or your jacket or whatever. And we're going to start distributing those to all our businesses so that when people are shopping, they can see this unification that we're going to create in Wakayakum County. And then eventually, probably launching in the next, probably I think our goal is March 1st, is we'll start a little passport program for shoppers, encourage people to shop local. So we'll go into that later, but it's a building process, but we're excited to get that going. So yeah, be fun. Questions? Volunteers?
Is that, I have a question, Stacy. Is that the QR code that has the cling on it? That's to go to the website, right?
So
Or
the
is it-
QR code project will be down the road a little bit further. And the QR code eventually will be for a business owner to be able to put that on a window cling, and people can scan it and it'll go to a video that they can watch about that business. So
That's right.
that's a lengthier project, but we're hoping to get that going with some talented people that we have in our community. So that'll be really fun. So yeah, we're just trying to make a go of it out here in Wakayakum County. So be a pansy today, be strong, be resilient, keep going in the storms, and make people smile. Pansies always make me smile. So your challenge today is go out there and make somebody smile for being a pansy. So we will see you guys again on March 3rd. Please come in and visit me in the office. I'm here all the time and lonely. No, I'm here from 9 to 5, actually 8:30 to 5:30, but and stop by. And if you need extra stickers or you want to talk about the program or pick up, please bring business cards if I don't have your business cards in here. And I have a new pretty business card holder. Lorraine, I think you'd be proud of them. They look nice. Come see
Thank
the
you,
office,
Jean.
Lorraine. It looks better.
I appreciate your speaking. And thank you, Stacy.
Yeah. All right, guys. You guys have a great day.
Bye.
Jean, thank you so much.